Hello, and welcome to our wonderful Thinking Critically About Anthropomorphism project. Brought to you by Colin, Anna, and Kate. Human beings anthropomorphizing animals is incredibly common in today's culture, and there are plenty of examples that you've probably even done yourself. Anthropomorphism is when people project human-like qualities onto animals. It comes from a wide variety of sources. However, with the help of widespread media coverage, our culture is practically generating new ones every single day. Everything from movies, TV, YouTube, to social media platforms have influence on our culture's perception of certain animals' connection to humans, as well as influencing how humans actually interact with those animals. An example.
What's your name?
My name is Madeline Ryan.
Do you consent to being filmed?
I do consent to being filmed.
What is anthropomorphism?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm guessing it has to do with animals, but I don't think I've ever heard it.
I actually have the definition right here if you want to take a look.
Okay. It is putting uniquely human characteristics on anything other than human beings.
And what animals do you think would go to that?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I don't think I know.
There's actually some examples on the back of that.
Dogs, teddy bears, and Easter bunny.
Yeah.
The Easter Bunny.
Yeah. So thank you for being in our documentary.
Thank you.
What is the definition of anthropomorphism?
Anthropomorphism is when a person puts uniquely human characteristics on anything. It could be a plant, it could be an animal, it could be a rock.
What is an example of anthropomorphism?
An example to me would be dogs and babies. The phrase man's best friend has referred to the bond between a person and their dog for hundreds of years. And when you have a man, you have babies. So the bond between babies and dogs must be strong, like as strong, right? But no, that's not. Even though seeing your dog with a little person is cute and cuddly and all that, dogs are only tolerant of babies' nonsense for so long because they tend to push boundaries a lot. And the portrayed bond between the parents create between the baby and the dog can lead to some dangerous situations. An example of this would be the famous kiss and diss. A dog might go up to a child and lick their cheek, which is seen by many as an act of affection, which in some cases it is, but in others, it's a way for the dog to keep the child away from them. What's your name?
Sam Levy?
Do you consent to being filmed?
Yes.
What is anthropomorphism?
I do not know.
That's okay, because I have the definition for you right here. Anthropomorphism
Anthropomorphism is putting uniquely human characteristics on anything other than.
What is anthropomorphism?
It's when someone puts or sees human-like characteristics in animals, but they really aren't like doing those characteristics, but because we're humans, we relate to them and we relate it to ourselves.
What is an example of anthropomorphism?
An example of anthropomorphism would be teddy bears. You wouldn't think there's anything wrong with your favorite childhood teddy bear. However, unbeknownst to a large majority of the population, this cute and cuddly soft animal brings about much more of an impact than meets the eye. The existence of teddy bears in our society portrays bears as being cute, lovable, friendly, and harmless. This case of anthropomorphism creates a lack of understanding of how humans should be interacting with a wild bear. When I was younger, my family visited Yellowstone National Park, and I was able to experience like this exact effect because due to the public's like praising perception of them, people are much more inclined to like stop and want to have actual contact with these bears. And like, so we would be driving down the road, and if someone sees a bear, they'll completely stop and get out of the car, try to take pictures, get up close to them. Even examples of people trying to like feed them and whatnot. And after a while, like crowds of people would show up. So in conclusion, because of the anthropomorphism provided by teddy bears, there's a very negative effect on people's safety around bears, but it also has negative effects on the habitats of the bears because it exposes them to unneeded and harmful interactions with humans. And the only like real positive effect of it that I can see is that it does raise awareness for the animal and thus promotes more conservation to them.
What's your name?
Abby Smith.
And do you consent to being filmed?
Yeah.
What is anthropomorphism?
I have no idea.
Can you give me a guess?
I don't know.
Here's the definition.
Do I have to read it?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay. Can you think of any animals that would fall under that category?
Like dogs, maybe? I don't know.
Good guess. Good job. High five. How do you define anthropomorphism?
I define anthropomorphism as applying human-like characteristics to animals in virtual media, news media.
Okay. What is an example of anthropomorphism to you?
I think the Easter Bunny is an example of anthropomorphism. The Easter Bunny is seen as a rabbit who sneaks into homes the night before Easter and hides toys, candy, and eggs for children to find the next day. And this could have serious consequences for human-animal interactions. The Easter Bunny is very popular with children who will do anything to get candy. The image of the Easter Bunny gives children the perfect excuse for interacting with animals in the wild.
Thank you. Great. What's your name?
Jennifer?
Do you consent to being filmed?
Yes.
What is anthropomorphism?
Oh my god, bro. Anthropomorphism is when you take human characteristics and put it onto an animal to make them seem more humanized.
Yes.
Because I have voices of the animals.
Woo!
Get it.
Nice. And can you give me some examples of those animals?
Say that I look at my dog and I look at her and say, oh, like she's feeling sad or she's feeling happy. But genuinely, do we know that she's feeling sad or happy? No, we don't. It's just seeing human characteristics and placing them on top of an animal.
Great. Thanks. What's your name?
Ella.
Do you consent to being filmed?
No.
Okay. What is anthropomorphism?
I don't know.
That's okay, because I have a definition for you right here. You don't have to read it aloud.
Okay.
What animals do you think would go under that?
I don't know.
That's okay, because I have some examples on the inside. Yes, these. Yep. Thank you.
Now introducing anthropodenial. It's hard to say, just like the other one. Anthropodenial is influenced by the same cultural contributors as anthropomorphism. However, instead, it is when people disregard
Man thought it was a bait.
animals' capability of
Keep
having
going.
shared human characteristics.
Keep
This
going.
impacts the way that we humans
Fuck,
work
that's
with
a
and
lot.
interact other
Holy
animals.
fuck. Woo.
What's your name?
Makia Brockway.
Do you consent to being filmed?
Yes.
What is anthropodenial?
I have no idea. I'm guessing it relates to something in anthropology and denial, so maybe like the neglect of something? I don't know.
Okay, good thinking. Here's the actual definition.
Oh, yeah, okay. So like the denial of like the characteristic of animals and like human like characteristics of animals. So like okay, I get that.
What animals do you think would go under anthropodenial?
Definitely like wolves and like dogs definitely have like human like characteristics. Obviously like monkeys. There's definitely and like dolphins, like there are lots of animals that are like very intelligent, like whales.
Thank you.
What is anthropodenial?
Anthropodenial is when we as in people dismiss characteristics in animals that we have in ourselves because we don't want to see ourselves as primitive or animal-like.
What is an example of anthropodenial?
An example would be sharks. The movie Jaws was like a really popular movie that came out in the early 2000s, and alongside its growing popularity was an increase in fear of sharks. Sharks were and still are seen by some as only primitive, bloodthirsty, aquatic beasts. The phrase mindless as sharks started popping up, and then we started killing what we feared. I think like 50,000 sharks are killed every year due to bycatch. But that's not the point. But sharks aren't primitive or mindless. They're extremely misunderstood animals. Because we fear them, we suppress the similar characteristics that we have between the two of us. One big one being DNA. Another great example is their cognitive abilities. Sharks are social and cooperative and they have individual personalities just like us. And a great quote from an article I just read, I actually have it with me, is, "Me, a child from the 80s, raised knowing only the shark in the movie Jaws, was flabbergasted that these sharks were not tearing me into pieces. Sharks are extremely misunderstood animals. This fear has led to humans killing more than 1 million sharks."
What is the definition of anthropodenial?
Anthropodenial is rejecting the belief that animals share human-like characteristics with us and overlooking that.
What is an example of anthropodenial?
An example of anthropodenial is fish. People do not view fish very much as a sentient species. There's definitely more of a view. Obviously, there's a sport that's completely surrounded by it. People who fish love obviously taking pictures with it more as like a trophy in a sense, and less as an actual animal. Another common misconception is that fish don't feel pain, but they do, I guess. I did not know that until today. But people like don't understand like you're reeling up like a fish, you're actually causing harm and pain to an animal, and in some cases ending up killing animals, even like catch and release. According to an article, a study by Michigan Department of Natural Resources Marquette Research Station reported in 2017 that morality of angler-released fish averaged 43% when surface water temperature was above 50, and then morality rates dropped down when it was lower, but that's 1 in every 9 fish that is caught and released that dies.
What's your name?
Liam.
Do you consent to being filmed?
Yes.
Okay. What is anthropodenial?
I don't know.
Can you give me a guess?
The study of the history of denial.
Read this.
Out loud.
No, you don't have to read it out loud. What animals come to mind once you read the actual definition?
Apes.
Apes. Anything else?
I guess livestock in general.
Did you want to be back in it? What is anthropodenial?
Anthropodenial is the blindness or rejection of human-like characteristics to animals or animal-like characteristics to ourselves.
What is an example of anthropodenial to you?
An example of anthropodenial is chimpanzees. They have been used for medical research to help us understand diseases. Although they are our closest living relatives, humans ignore the obvious similarities to use them for our own benefit. They are portrayed as primitive animals, and that is the way we want to see them. For example, studies have shown chimps playing games and have very impressive recognition skills, but we ignore that so we can... I am so sorry. I'm so confused now.
You're good. What's your name?
Cortina Green.
Do you consent to being filmed?
Yes.
What is anthropodenial?
I have no clue.
Can you give me a guess?
What's the word again?
Anthropodenial.
Let's see. I have no idea, but let's see. Anyone? Anyone? Can I popcorn this question?
It's okay, it's okay. I have the definition right there. You don't have to read it aloud.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, can you give me some examples of animals that might fall under that category?
A duck? I don't know.
Well, I have some examples right there. They're the bottom line.
A shark.
Okay.
Shark.
Thank you for being on my documentary.
My TED Talk.
Love it. Well, back up.
What's your name?
Jimmy Walker.
Do you consent to being filmed?
Yes, I do.
What is anthropodenial? Best guess.
Denial of animal rights. I don't know.
Good guess, good guess. Here's the actual definition.
What is it? A blindness to the human-like characteristics of animals or the animal-like characteristics of ourselves.
Do any animals come to mind when you think of that?
Like human-like animals, like apes or like monkeys, or like dolphins. They're pretty smart. I went on like a boat the other day and they like followed us in the wake, you know? And,
Oh,
like, the guy picked them up.
same.
The guy was like, "Watch, I'll pick them up," and we just drove past them and they picked them up.
Nice.
And they like knew the boat, so
Okay,
that was-
thanks.
they knew
High
it,
five.
yeah.